The Columbus Blue Jackets have just dropped a bomb on the National Hockey League with an unexpected coaching firing and the hiring of Rick Bowness. Who, by the way, let me just check this out right here. Isn't Rick Bowness like 70 years old? Not to disrespect the guy, say that he's old. Oh yeah, he is 70. Oh my goodness. But really, it's just gotta be for the love of the game, right? This was unexpected as all heck. I didn't think that we would see a coaching firing at this stage of January, and I especially didn't think that that coaching firing would come at the hands of the Columbus Blue Jackets. They aren't the worst team in the National Hockey League, but they are darn close. They've got 45 points, good enough for tying 27th in the league, but the fact that they are the team to get things started with coach firings is quite noteworthy. Let's go out there and read some of the replies over here. Wow, out of nowhere. Just shows how much of a sicko you have to be to coach in the NHL. Bones is 70 years old. Was happily retired, splitting time between Florida and the Maritimes with his wife, and he jumps back into the meat grinder. Out of nowhere because they actually did it, but based on performance, completely necessary. If the Blue Jackets had won every game we had a 2-goal lead in the third, I think we'd be top 4 in the East right now, or something like that. So that does seem to be the reason that this coach firing went down. It can't be overstated how bad the Blue Jackets have been in the third period of games this year. Blue Jackets fans can tell you that as soon as we go up 2 goals in the third, it's game over for the Jackets, because we've blown that lead something like 8 times this year. From a development standpoint, it seems like all the young players outside of Marchenko and Matejchuk have stagnated. While I didn't expect it to be this soon, the writing was on the wall for Dean Evason. Let's go out there and take a look at the article over here. Blue Jackets part ways with head coach Dean Evason and assistant coach Steve McCarty. They name Rick Bowness as the head coach. This season has been a frustrating one for all of us, and the bottom line is we are not performing at a level that meets our expectations, GM Don Waddell said. We all share in that responsibility, me included, and while this was not a decision that was made lightly, it is one that needed to be made at this time. Dean did a tremendous job last year under extremely difficult circumstances, and I thank him for that. I also want to thank Steve for his commitment to our club over the past 5 years. Rick Bowness is a tremendous coach with invaluable experience and knowledge, and he will bring a steadiness to our team at an important juncture of our season. He is a good communicator whose teams play with structure, and they're sound defensively, and we believe he is the right person to bring out the best in our group. So, yeah, nice to see that, eh? Bowness says he appreciates the opportunity to come to Columbus because it's a good organization with good people, and this is a team that he thinks can improve with his help. He's thankful to Don and the Blue Jackets president Mike Priest, and he's really excited to work with the players and the coaching staff to help them get where they want to go. Now, Columbus firing their head coach. This ain't the only piece of news that I wanted to talk about in today's video. You probably saw in the title, the thumbnail, we got a bunch of stuff to dive into. The Vancouver Canucks are playing off against the Montreal Canadiens in about 2 hours at the time of recording this audio, but this piece of news is pretty dire, so let's go out there and talk about this. Thomas Drance tweeted out that Kiefer Sherwood is injured, said Adam Foote. He's pushing to go, but he is day-to-day and could miss as much as a week. So much for the Vancouver Canucks' top trade chip. Sherwood has been good this season. 23 points, 44 games. He's on pace for 43 points and 30 goals. The fact that he was on pace for 50 goals earlier in the year makes this current production pace seem a little worse, but still, he started off the year super hot. He was getting hat tricks. He has done all that. And now he's starting to get more assists, and he is finally stabilizing as a player, I say. This is a player that has provided probably the most dogness for the Vancouver Canucks the past few games, and it's quite evident just looking at the big losses the Canucks have gone through recently on this streak. There haven't really been too many things to cheer about with this team, but Kiefer Sherwood's 3 points in 6 games certainly is one of them. Not to mention the work ethic, not to mention the dog ethic. There is a lot to like out of Sherwood, and he has been Vancouver's biggest trade chip. Now that he's out, we will not see really any tenacity or what have you in the Vancouver Canucks lineup, it seems. Elias Pettersson's gone too, so yeah, there isn't really any snarl in the Canucks lineup these days, unless you want to just talk about Connor Garland. We'll see whether or not the Canadiens can take advantage of that. Speaking about the Canadiens, one of their top superstars is Quinn Hutson. Let's talk about his brother, Quinn Hutson, in the Edmonton Oilers organization. Turns out the Oilers have signed Quinn Hutson to a 2-year extension, 2 years by $875,000. That's a fine contract. The guy's 24 years old. The guy was an undrafted free agent who signed with the Oilers out of Boston University last season. 50 points in 38 games played. It's kind of funny, because Quinn Hutson produced more points in the NCAA after Lane Hutson left the organization. You can see back in 23-24, you had Macklin celebrating Quinn Hutson and Lane Hutson here at the top of the points race, and then 2025, Quinn Hutson and Cole Hutson were number 1 and number 2. So Quinn, he might not be getting the $8 million something that Lane is getting, but he's getting a decent amount. I don't think anybody would complain about $800,000 a year. Quinn also did explore his first NHL stint this season with a goal in 4 total games, and he has been way over a point per game in the American Hockey League. 38 points in 30 games is pretty solid for the 24-year-old winger. And speaking about signings, we did have one more signing that I wanted to go over in this commentary today. The Pittsburgh Penguins have re-signed Blake Lizotte to a 3-year deal by $2.25 million AAV. A good veteran at this stage of his career. Lizotte is 28 years old. Again, another undrafted free agent, only 5'9", 170, but a Stanley Cup champion? No, he's not a Stanley Cup champion. He's just been on the Kings for a while. But Lizotte is on pace for about 20 points this season. Not bad, considering the cap is going up. He's a fine player. Good for him. Good for Lizzo, as they're going out there and saying in the comments section below. But with all this in mind, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How do you feel about the Columbus Blue Jackets firing Dean Evason, hiring Rick Bowness? Thoughts on Kiefer Sherwood out day to day, but he could miss as much as a week, courtesy of Adam Foote. Thoughts on Quinn Hutson and Blake Lizotte signing deals with the Oilers and the Penguins. We will be tuning back into this channel because the Canucks are playing off against the Canadiens, and that is obviously, for very clear reasons, the game that I'm going to be paying attention to the most, and probably wallowing in Vancouver self-doubt because of it. I just hope that Slavkovsky, Hutson, and Demidov pop off today. I need a good fantasy week. I hope you enjoyed this Vidishar Scrolls 99, and bye.